So I wanted to talk a little bit today about living in community. We have many opportunities to practice the Dharma, and if we train our minds anyhow. So one of the things that I try to be aware of is how my mind state affects the community, and I think that's true with any group of people that we're around a lot. Our mind states, how our mind is, affects those that are around us. And especially paying attention to my mind when the community is in a transition is really crucial, I've found over the years living here. So I have an example, and I just wanted to share kind of how I've been working with it. So by Monday, we'll have half of the community gone, traveling. So that's a big number for this small community. And so for me, the goal is to ride this transition time with harmony and sensitivity. And so when I think about sensitivity, it involves being attentive and responsive, I think. So attentive means that we can note the condition of someone and the consequences of our behavior toward them. And then responsive, I can be either spontaneous or considered when replying to what I'm noticing. And so also being sensitive is striking a balance between what others require or request and being sensitive to our own needs. So the balance between those two. And if I constantly respond to the needs of others without taking myself into consideration, then I'll strain my physical and emotional resources, and that doesn't work at all. That's really what burnout is all about. And especially coupled with low self-esteem, then that behavior really isn't healthy for the entire community. It really affects. And then on the other extreme, if I only think of my own needs, then my self-centered attitude will alienate myself from others. And so for me to have a balanced mind, I first examine my reaction to this example that I'm using about half of the community being gone by Monday. And so what is my internal reaction to that? And these are the kinds of questions that I bring to meditation and consider. And so when I did that, what I realized is that I have some anxiety around the amount of tasks to be done with 5 people gone, because this is a big place and there are many things to do. And so now that I've identified kind of what is pulling my mind out of balance, then I can address it. And so I don't do it so formal like I'm doing it here, but I usually then create a plan to address this in balance of my mind. And so I've written out a few things that I will consider during this time, and especially in the next few days. So first is to, after I identify what's pulling my mind out of balance, then to address that. So one of the things that I've done is to prioritize what absolutely needs to be done. And so that kind of addresses the anxiety piece for me. And then the next thing is to accept that my timeline for completion of projects has changed now. And so that's the next one. If I don't attend to that, then often what might happen is that a lot of guilt in my mind will arise, because what I had, kind of planned for this month, or however we do our planning, mine's kind of by month, then I see that I'm not accomplishing that, and then if I don't attend to it, then what can arise for me is guilt. I'm not following through with the plan. So knowing that about myself, then when things change like this, I give myself a lot of compassion and self-acceptance. Try to anyhow. And then the next thing is to acknowledge that others in the community will have their own responses to this transition. And then what I need to do with that is to plan to be very attentive and mindful of my reactions to others. Mm-hmm. So what I want to watch for is, again, anxiety or judgment or criticism, starting to get tight with things, starting to get very focused on the result instead of the process or instead of the harmony of the community. And so really be mindful when those start to arise in my mind so that I can then apply antidotes to those. And then I make a strong intention that if and when my mind gets out of balance like that due to me reacting to somebody else's reaction to whatever, then I make the strong intention not to enter into communication until I've got my mind back in balance, at least to some degree. And then finally to remind myself that everybody in the community will pitch in and that and contribute, and that I can really trust everybody's good intentions here, that we all really have very similar values, and there's nobody that is willfully just going to say, flake, I don't care about anything. That's not what happens here. And so to get kind of realistic again about who is around me, so that my own anxiety or fears that are not based on anything in reality at all won't start running my behavior and my communication. And so that's just kind of a snapshot maybe of a way to apply, to me really as Dharma, to the things that just arise in our lives. We're taught to really take everything that arises and bring it onto the path. And for me, this is kind of the process that I often will use for, things that may be kind of quite mundane, but can be very powerfully affecting myself and others in the community. Yeah.